Hey, what's up, Street Talks? Eric Kim from Eric Kim Street Photography Blog. So I want to share with you some practical thoughts on what should you do with your life once you're retired. So to me, this is actually a very interesting idea because there's so many of us who delay our happiness until foreseeable future. And the reason why I think it's really important for us to think because at worst, you might die today or tomorrow. And of course, you might live to be 120. So I think it's a little bit unfortunate that a lot of us delay our happiness. And even when we think that one day we're going to retire and suddenly magic will be happy, I actually think that most people have a really difficult time using their free time. So for example, even most of us, even though we have 9-to-5 jobs, once you come home from our jobs, unfortunately, most of us tend to, I think, squander our free time. I mean, part of it might be because we're so exhausted from our work and stuff like that. But I think generally speaking, it's actually a really important skill to know how to use our time in an active way. So for example, I think most of us, we'll have a tiring day at work, we'll come home, we'll eat a little bit, and then we'll usually do something more passive like watching TV or, play video games or whatever. And I mean, I think that activity in itself is fine. But the issue is, if you really want to become the most epic you and you want to really fulfill your own personal epicness, I feel like we must do things which are active. We must do things which, we're creating things, we're thinking of things, we're making things, whether they be videos, whether they be poetry, whether it be photos, art, illustrations, dance, theater, writing, books, whatever it may be. And I think the reason I also bring this up too is that this is actually the funny thing is that, I'm 30 years old and obviously I still work because I like to work. And I think when we say retire, we don't mean to say just one day not have to work anymore and just sit at home and watch TV all day. But I really think what it is to me, I define retirement as not doing any more toilsome labor or work that you're actually not passionate about. Because if you're working on work that you're passionate about, you have a stronger reason to be alive and you have a stronger reason to hustle. So even for me, I'm essentially working 12, 16 hours a day because everything I work on is something I'm passionate about. I make these videos, I write, I teach, I think, I make photos and stuff like that. And so technically in my mind, I actually already feel retired. And generally speaking, I don't have any obligations for the most part. So my whole day belongs to me. And generally speaking, once you're quote, quote, retired, generally, I mean, I can't speak for you, but this is like a day in the life of Eric, and I'll just wake up whenever I'm awake. I'll usually have a cup of coffee. The first thing I usually do is go to the gym. I'll usually do deadlifts, squats, or one rep max type workouts with a dumbbell press. I'll enjoy using the sauna. They even have something called a hydro massage chair. And actually, after working out first thing in the morning, I have a huge spurt of vigor and energy, which gives me a good way for me to start writing, for me to start making videos, and to essentially get my brain to start thinking. And throughout the rest of the day, usually sometimes I'll do work at the house, preferably with Cindy. We'll go to a coffee shop, drink some more coffee, and then do some more creative work and writing, walk around, think, make videos, make photos. And then usually have dinner, either a simple dinner out somewhere outside, or we'll just come back home and cook, and then come back, shower, spend some time chatting with the family. And then usually in the evening times, use this time to think some more, have conversations, read, do some more writing and work, and then essentially go to sleep. And that's typically a day in the life of Eric Kim. And I think it's also important for us to think about this too, because a lot of us think that, once you retire, I mean, most of us haven't really thought about that too far ahead. Usually we're like, I want to travel and read more or pick up some more my hobbies. But think to yourself, are these things I could already do right now? Or is it something that I must wait until I'm retired in order to start doing? Because I think a lot of the things that you could do, you can actually start doing it right now. There's nothing really holding you back. And I think really the thing that's actually holding up a lot of us back is, I think it's just, we lack the energy. So once after we're done with work and stuff like that, we're just too tired. And so my practical suggestion is, in the evenings, if you come back from work and stuff like that, I think actually it takes more skill to fall asleep earlier than waking up earlier. And I certainly know for myself, whenever I wake up in the morning, that's when I have the most energy and the most clear mindset. So I would even try to recommend trying to sleep a little bit earlier, waking up earlier if you have a 9 to 5 job. And first thing when you do is when you wake up, don't check your phone, don't check your email. Probably best to just charge your phone in a separate room if you want to get tempted. And if you really want to wake up earlier and you have a hard time waking up on your own and you don't want to use your phone, just buy a standalone alarm clock. You could just buy a cheap one on Amazon. And yeah, have a lot of coffee in the morning. It's up to you. Maybe go to the gym. Maybe you could use that time to journal, to diary, to write, to blog, to look through some of your own photos. I would really say that every single day, if you devote the first 2 hours of the day to yourself, only for things that you want to do. So don't worry whether it has to be productive or work related or relate to making money. Really use that 2 hours just purely for yourself, whether it be any sort of creative activity, whether it be reading, writing, thinking, who knows, maybe even singing. And I think perhaps if this is the strategy in life, we don't actually have to worry too much about how we make a living, because then you could just, during the day, you could just have whatever job that you need to pay the bills. And furthermore, perhaps we won't even have to be dependent on retirement before we decide to pursue what we're really passionate about. And so just, yeah, maybe you could just kind of experiment with that. And also just think to yourself, what's holding you really back from pursuing what you're really passionate about in life? And also think to yourself, are there ways you could pursue your passion which aren't dependent on other people? I mean, I even know a lot of people who, they want to do more volunteer work or help out more other people, stuff like that. A simple way you could do that by yourself is start your own blog. You could start your own YouTube channel. And I think really, even still now, I think the power of the internet is still being under harnessed. Most of us are still slaves to social media, to Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. I think there should be more of us starting our own blogs. There should be more of us really just kind of starting our own companies, creating our own startups, and really using the side as a side for you to work on your quote-unquote side hustle, not always feeling like your passion and your income have to be the same thing. I mean, I think if you're able to make that one and the same, that's the ultimate apex. And that's fortunately what I'm able to do. But even once this is actually the funny thing, even once you have financial independence, once you have location independence, you live a nomadic lifestyle, whatever, even though you might have enough money saved up and whatever, you're still not just automatically happy. Like even me, I wake up every single morning and I'm not like, oh, I'm so grateful for all these things. I'm like, I just feel like kind of the same. And that's actually the funny thing, is that like, if I could compare my general mood when I was working a 9 to 5 job and my mood now, I would actually say for the most part, my mood is the same. I don't feel any really happier or sadder or worse off better, but certainly things I know the difference between working for, a 9 to 5 job versus working for myself is I just have more control over my time. Now that doesn't necessarily mean I'm like happier, but it certainly means that two things. I could either squander more of my time, or I could really focus and use my time in a meaningful way. And once again, I think apparently this happens to a lot of people once they're retired, something like that. You have so much free time. You don't even know what to do with your free time. I mean, I feel like there should be more people talking about what to do once you're retired. And like even now, in theory, I could just retire for the rest of my life living like a king in Vietnam. And I choose not to, because I still, I want to live a active life. I still feel like I have a lot in me that I want to still kind of create. And once again, realize that happiness is not something that just happens to you via pleasure and traveling and stuff like that. I really feel like it has to be active. Even traveling in itself, I don't think it's an end in itself, because most people travel in order to learn a new culture, in order to learn a new language, in order to meet other people, in order to make photos and stuff like that. So really think about what your end game is and then kind of work backwards. And also just kind of realize the truth is, even though you have the perfect lifestyle, like I consider I have the perfect lifestyle right now, it's still not sufficient to be happy, nor I don't think even having the ideal lifestyle should be the goal of life. The goal, I think, of life is to be productive, for us to really focus on doing the creative work that's really meaningful to us, and then devoting our all to it. So yeah, just kind of remind yourself that, like, who knows, maybe you'll never become self-employed. Maybe you'll never be able to turn your passion into a living, but maybe that's okay too. Maybe you could still kind of use all your free time. Wake up like 2 hours earlier in the morning, sleep 2 hours earlier at night. And once again, I know it's really hard. I would actually once again say it's harder to sleep early than wake up early, because to sleep early, it really takes a lot of skill. I mean, a practical thing is you can make a rule: don't look at screens once you come home. I know it's hard, but use that time to maybe go to the gym, tire yourself out. Maybe that can mean reading books. Generally, anything that keeps you stimulated at night, I don't think is generally a good thing if your intention is to wake up earlier. And yeah, just kind of realize that life is short, life is uncertain. So don't delay your happiness. You could be happy right now. So think to yourself, like, if I were one day retired or financially independent or whatever like that, what would you want to do with all your free time? What would you want to do with your life? Just think about it. Maybe leave a comment down below and say something like, oh, once I retire, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And then also maybe just think to yourself, can I follow my passion right now? So share your turbo thoughts, and realize that once again, yeah, I think retirement, financial independence, all these things are overrated. The most important thing is your creative work. Be strong, be bold, be brazen, be you, and excited to see what you can do next. Peace out.